Welcome to Snacks Weekly on Data Science. This podcast is all about making data science and machine learning knowledge accessible and less intimidating. Today, we are going to talk about simulation. This topic is based on a tech blog with the title Building a Tennis Simulation, written by the data science team from DraftKings. You can find the blog link in this episode's description. Throughout this episode, we will dissect the topic from both business and data science angles. Now, let's dive in. On the business side, let's take a look at the problem to be solved. DraftKings is a popular American operator for daily fantasy sports contests and sports betting. It offers users the opportunity to participate in daily fantasy sports competitions across a wide range of sports and to place bets on sports events. In its role as sports betting operator, DraftKings provides odds for various sports events to its users. In this context, odds denote the probability or likelihood of a particular outcome occurring in a sporting event. To better illustrate, consider the probability of rolling a fair six-sided die to get a specific number. Let's say the number is 3. The chance is 1 out of 6, since these are 6 equally likely outcomes. Therefore, the odds of rolling a 3 can be expressed as 1 over 5. The odds in sports betting are not as straightforward as rolling a fair six-sided die. They are much more complex due to the uncertainty inherent in sports activities. Odds are determined based on the perceived likelihood of specific outcomes as evaluated by oddsmakers, who consider various factors such as team or player performance, injuries, historical data, and public sentiment. Bettors, or customers making a bet, use odds to evaluate the potential risk and reward of different betting options and to make informed decisions when placing their bets. Accurately predicting game winning probability is crucial for DraftKings to establish appropriate odds for different sports game outcomes. This ensures fair and competitive betting markets, so it is essential for DraftKings' key business success. To predict winning probabilities, a more traditional calculation-based approach exists. One example is to divide the number of wins by the total number of games played. However, DraftKings team has chosen to focus on a Monte Carlo simulation approach to modeling sports. The team considers the simulation-based approach to be more flexible than a traditional calculation-based approach. This can enable them to leverage machine learning models and incorporate more advanced features to enhance their prediction accuracy. Now that we've understood the business problem to solve, let's shift gear and dive into the technology side to explore this simulation-based approach further. First, what is Monte Carlo simulation? Monte Carlo simulation is a mathematical technique that use random sampling to predict the likelihood of different outcomes. It is named after the famous Monte Carlo casino in Monaco due to its reliance on random sampling, much like the randomness observed in games of chance. To simulate a tennis match, we need to learn more about how it works. In a tennis match, a point is the smallest unit. A point begins when the server hits the ball legally to the receiver on the other side of the court. The point continues until one side is unable to legally return the ball to the other side, and that side loses the point. In any tennis match, players play points. Those points count toward games. Those games count toward sets. And the player that wins the most sets wins the match. There are a lot of randomness and factors influencing which players would win a point at any specific moment. And as you can see, if one can build up a machine learning model to accurately calculate the likelihood of a player to win a point, then they can leverage this machine learning model to imitate how a tennis match happens. With the help of computer, the simulation can happen in hundreds of thousands of times. And then a tennis match's outcome can be reasonably predicted. After understanding the general steps of running a tennis match simulation, let's explore 3 essential inputs to make it work. The first one input is the input features. It encompasses information necessary to represent competitors' strengths, along with additional variables needed to depict the competition accurately. The second one is the simulated features object. It contains all features related to the current game state, including details like the serving player, tie-breaking status, and the current scores. These are the pieces of information that the machine learning model would use to make predictions on who is likely to win the point. The third information is the simulation records object. It logs all outcomes in a simulation, and the outcomes are added to the appropriate records at key moments in the match. As we mentioned, once the points accumulates to a certain degree, a game is claimed winning. Once more games are won, the set is considered won, etc. Once these inputs are assembled, the team can construct a loop function and set it to run in the background. Just need to wait for the simulation results to come out. As discussed before, one of the key advantages of the simulation-based approach is its flexibility. It allows the team to incorporate different features into the machine learning model for the point prediction. One example involves integrating momentum into the simulation. For those who have watched the sports games, you may have noticed that it is not uncommon to observe one side on an unstoppable winning streak, while the other party struggles to maintain any morale. It is very hard for non-simulation based approaches to integrate such real-time information. but simulation-based method can incorporate those into the model as features. And then it can make adjustments to the model's predictions accordingly. This would enable with more precise predictions. Now we discussed both the business problem and technical solution. Let's wrap it up. In this episode, we discussed why odds prediction is important for DraftKings online betting business, what Monte Carlo simulation is, and how it is used to predict tennis match outcomes to meet their business needs. If you enjoy the content of this episode, please subscribe to the channel, give me a 5-star review, and leave a comment. Your feedback is greatly appreciated, and I'll see you next week.